All right, so this question and this discussion has a lot of moving parts, a lot of angles to it, okay?
Okay.
Who do you believe is more responsible for the Broncos' struggling offense? Peyton Manning, Gary Kubiak, or John Elway?
Okay. I'm going to start it this way, let you carry the ball, and then rip you apart. Number one on the list of perpetrators is Peyton Manning, because this is a quarterback's league and it all starts and ends with the quarterback. Number two is John Elway, because he put this team together and we can see that the offense personnel is flawed. And number three is Gary Kubiak, who is a first-year coach. And actually I have a ton of respect and empathy for, because he has to deal with this mess.
It's my contention that first and foremost, John Elway is responsible for what's going on
I
here.
hear that.
And it started after the St. Louis Rams game last year, where John said, when Peyton's not having a good day, we can't win. So we need to be able to run the ball better. Plus, he's a 38-year-old quarterback who seems to be struggling a little. So I do want to take the ball out of his hands. I want to take the responsibility away from him somewhat. Then he went out and he hired a coach who would take the reins and install that running offense that John Elway wants. So Gary Kubiak is kind of caught in the middle of this whole thing.
That's what I firmly believe.
Yes,
I firmly agree.
He's caught in the middle. He has to deal with Peyton every day on the field and in meetings. And Peyton's not happy. Are we right about that? Peyton's
We're right.
not happy?
Peyton's unhappy because Peyton knows he stinks, and so he's unhappy with everything.
Well, but don't you think that he knows he's unhappy that he's aging the way he is? There's no doubt about it. He's frustrated with that.
I'm unhappy with the way I'm aging the way I am. Have you seen this hairline?
He's unhappy with his own limitations right now, but he's also unhappy that he's running an offense that he's not well suited for.
Absolutely.
So he's uncomfortable, he's unhappy. He goes to Gary and he says, Gary, this isn't working for me. But Gary has to say to him, A, we need to run the ball better, and B, this is what the boss upstairs wants. So I believe overshadowing this whole thing is John Elway. And John's right conceptually. They have to run the ball better, and they have to rely less on that 39-year-old quarterback. But the way they're doing it doesn't make sense to me because it's not working. So at some point, you don't want to waste this defense, right? And you don't want to waste Emmanuel Sanders and Demaryius Thomas and anybody else on offense that you think can play. Evan Mathis, Lou Vasquez, the whole deal. At some point, Elway, I believe, has to become a little less stubborn and allow Gary Kubiak and Peyton Manning to do what works best for Peyton Manning. And right now, my opinion, what works best for Peyton Manning is putting him in the shotgun all the time, sacrificing a little bit of that running game that you're so adamant about, making work. But you've got to put your quarterback in a situation to succeed. Right now, he's in a situation to fail. In the pistol or under center, he's not able to read the defense as well. He doesn't have the time to set up as well to throw, and he's not able to step into his throws because he is either under center or he's 4 to 5 yards back from center instead of 7 yards back. And you also have a problem with your tackles right now, don't you? Because of either inexperience or injury. When you're 7 steps back, when you're 7 yards back in the shotgun, you don't have to worry so much about those pass rushers coming around the edge because you can see it better and you can get rid of the ball faster. It's all tied together for me, Mark, and I think it all starts with John Elway. I'm not absolving Peyton of any blame here.
Okay, gotcha.
Not at all. I see what's going on. I see the diminished skills, and I see the skittishness, but I think putting him in the shotgun solves, not 100%, but solves a lot of those problems.
My response is Peyton Manning first and foremost, because Peyton can't be Peyton Manning anymore. And the Gary Kubiaks.
But can't he look a little more like Peyton Manning
No.
if you put him in a more comfortable position?
No.
No?
You can put him
See,
in
I
that.
disagree with
you can
that.
put him in the shotgun some parts of the game, and you can put them in.
They're doing that already.
You can put it in the first series of the game. You can do it in the second series of the second quarter. You can do it at end of game. But
I'd also go more no huddle.
Yeah, and you can do that as well, but you can't do it all the time because Peyton can't carry that load. And so that's why I feel empathy for Gary Kubiak in that he's got to find some happy, reasonable balance to keep Peyton comfortable the way you want Peyton to be comfortable, but not make Peyton throw it 40-plus times a game. Because if you ask Peyton to throw it 40, 45,
you're asking for trouble.
You're asking for trouble. That's too much. But I like the idea of where you went with Elway. Elway knew. Elway knew at the end of the last season. He knew what I knew, and that's why I feel happy to be me.
Well, and that's also why they wanted him to take a pay cut, and a more significant pay cut than he did. And if he didn't want to come back, I don't think John would have lost sleep over that.
Okay, you said John is too stubborn, and a lot of great leaders are too stubborn. But my
stubborn can be good.
Yeah, it can be good. But my criticism is different, and that's why I started with John knew at the end of last season he wasn't Peyton Manning anymore. And what I wrote at the end of the Indianapolis playoff game was basically telling Peyton, you can come back, but you can't come back as Manning, and do you really want to come back as this average old quarterback? And I'm basically telling Peyton, I'm inviting you to retire right now, Peyton.
Yeah.
John Elway should have sat Peyton down and said, you ain't got it no more, buddy. It's quarterback to quarterback. John Elway lost his nerve for whatever reason. Maybe the reason was John Elway, even though he drafted Brock Osweiler, wasn't totally sure Brock Osweiler was the answer. Maybe quarterback to quarterback, he didn't have the heart to go to a Hall of Fame quarterback and say, you know what, you're just not any good anymore, get out. But he knew this trouble was coming, and he didn't have, just like I probably wouldn't have, just like most of us probably wouldn't have, to say last January, sit down with Peyton and say, you know what, man, it's over.
But Mark,
I can't pay you $20 million. I can't pay you $5 million.
Mark, the free agent quarterback situation was bad out there. There was nobody to bring in.
Okay, but